And joining me now to talk about that and other details, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. Mr. Blakeman, good evening. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Now, so why isn't it in the interest? Why isn't it in the interest of voters to be able to walk down the street or jog in the park without worrying about getting mugged?
Well, let me tell you, Hillary Clinton could not be more wrong. It's always a right-wing conspiracy that they're trying to sell. Basically, I'm talking to people from every community throughout New York State, and especially here in Nassau County. We have great cops here. They make the arrests, they solve the crimes, and then they bring their defendants before judges, and judges have no discretion. They have to let them out. And Hillary Clinton, she's right about one thing. People are scared. They're scared because the criminals have taken over our communities, that there's this pandemic of criminality throughout the state of New York, and it's got to stop. And Hillary won't admit it. Governor Hochul, in her debate with Lee Zeldin, said, why do you care so much about crime? I mean, it's beyond belief.
It is beyond belief. And, you know, the no bail law, which is something that Governor Hochul has been in favor of, she wrote an editorial a couple of months ago talking about how it was a great success. That has led to the extraordinary situation in your county alone. Of course, it's happened in Manhattan, but in Nassau County, 88% of the suspects in Nassau County were freed without bail. 88%. I mean, that, and you know there's a good amount of people within that figure who don't deserve to be out.
Well, those are not minor crimes either. We're talking about burglaries, people invading people's homes. We're talking about people with illegal firearms. And by the way, they like to talk about gun violence. Well, most of the time, they're spending their time going after legal gun owners, law-abiding citizens. How about this law that if you're arrested with an illegal firearm in front of your house, in front of somebody else's business, the police arrest you, you're out the same day without having to post bail. Now, if they're serious about gun violence, how do they square that with this cashless bail law?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. They've lost complete control of the communities of this state, and Governor Hochul is in denial, Hillary Clinton's in denial, and Lee Zeldin is our only chance to restore sanity to this state.
Well, you know who else is in denial is the governor of Illinois. He just passed, and the legislature there passed this no bail law that a lot of law enforcement officials are furious about. But it's also another thing that's happening all over the country, but of course here in New York as well. Shoplifters. They're just, you know, there's a minimum amount that you can steal from a store without worrying about the cops at all. And you talk about shop owners who don't even call police anymore for shoplifters, right?
Yes, David, it's very sad. I spoke to a lot of shop owners, and they tell me they don't even call the police anymore because it's every day, and it's bad for business. People, they shoplift, they get out, they do it again, they get out, they do it again. There's no bail to hold them. Judges used to have discretion to hold somebody on bail, whether they were a danger to society or whether they were a flight risk. Now judges have no discretion under this cashless bail law. It's insane, and we've got to stop the insanity. We've got to get our communities back to being safe havens for our children and for people to do business and people to be able to feel in their own communities that they're safe.
And you know, the shop owners don't want the cops around because it's bad publicity for them. People don't want to shop at a store where there are cops milling around and where they're constantly there because there's so many criminals that work in their store. So it's the breakdown in law and order in the whole country is so bad for business. I mean, it's obviously bad for people who are afraid of getting hurt or even killed, but it's also bad for business. I just want to ask, though, in this particular state, every state is different, but the governor can have a lot of influence over crime. The governor can fire a lot of these radical prosecutors, and Zeldin has said he would do that if he's elected on the first day. But can they also suspend laws like the no bail law if they feel it's necessary?
Well, the governor in the state of New York has a tremendous amount of power. It's during the budget process when the governor can twist arms to get legislators who have pet projects to vote the right way. So I think Governor Lee Zeldin will be able to get these laws repealed because he will use the power of his office. And also, I think we're going to get a lot more Republican legislators in the Senate and the Assembly, and that's going to force many Democrats to be more common sense, to be more in line with what the people want, and to vote for laws that keep our community safe and care more about the victims than they do the criminals. Because right now, the criminals in this state have more rights than the victims.
Bruce, final question, and it's concerning a problem that Zeldin might have getting elected there, and it's the great exodus out of New York. Things have gotten so bad in terms of the crime, the taxation, the regulations, the quality of life because of the homeless living on the street, that we have these new figures. Population changes during the pandemic up till now. 365,000 New Yorkers have left, most of them going to Florida, by the way, where things are a lot different with no taxes and lower crime. So is that pulling some of the potential voters for Zeldin away? I mean, it's not like 1994 when so many people voted for Rudy Giuliani.
Well, first of all, I think Governor Hochul is going to get the Real Estate Broker of the Year award in Florida because she sent more people down to Florida to buy homes than anybody else in Florida. That's number one. Number two is, yeah, we've had a migration to Florida of our voters, but I'm telling you, independent voters and moderate Democrats are going to vote Republican this year. They've had enough. I've had Democrat after Democrat come up to me and say, look, Bruce, this isn't about party, it's about sanity. And I believe that Lee Zeldin is going to get a large majority of independent voters, and I think he's going to get a large chunk of common sense Democrats who've had enough.
All right, Bruce Blakeman, we'll see soon enough. Tuesday's the election. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.